Welcome in, my guys, again to Simu RPG, and today we are going to talk about the second chapter on Final Fantasy VII Remake. 5 years later, Final Fantasy VII Remake is still blowing our minds with its deep storytelling, hidden details, and mind-bending twists. And one chapter in particular changed everything we thought we knew about the original game. Chapter 2, Fateful Encounters. This is where the remake goes off the rails, introducing new mysteries, alternate timelines, and the return of Sephiroth way earlier than expected. But what does it all mean? What hidden clues did we miss, and how does it connect to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Let's break it all down. So, from Sephiroth's manipulations to Aerith's strange behavior, the whispers, and the truth about the bombing mission, we're diving deep into all the theories. So grab your busted sword and let's get started. Without further ado, guys, if you like these kinds of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay until the end of the video if you like the theories about the Final Fantasy VII lore. Chapter 2 kicks off right after Cloud and Avalanche destroy Mako Reactor 1. But something's off. Really off. And we see that because the explosion seems way bigger than expected, and the whole city, as we will see further in the video, is in chaos. All the citizens are all over the streets. They are confused. They don't know what happened. The only thing that they actually know is that Mako Reactor 5 explodes and everything is in flames. Now, we don't really know in the standpoint of the citizens what they feel, if they think there was an accident or even a terrorist attack. What we really know is, and we can debate about that, is whether Avalanche could have really caused so much destruction. And this makes us look, and even Avalanche, Wedge, Biggs, and Jesse, they are, shocked and appalled in all the destruction that we saw in the video. It's not easy for these characters. Biggs actually said, "Yeah, we know that it would get messy," and Wedge, "Oh, it's all only the beginning of it." Barrett gives a very heartful pep talk about it. He says, in this sentence is amazing. He takes up the blame to himself. And he says, "I know you are in pain, and even if you're not crying, I know you are crying inside, just like the planet." And he takes everything up to himself like a leader. Wherever your problem, I got you. That's what he says. And that's actually amazing. You can see during the video that, And now they need to escape. I think in this, in Final Fantasy VII OG, we don't have the view of the reality of this explosion, of the destruction that caused it. And it's pretty, it's not scary, but it's pretty awesome the way that they did this in Remake 7. And this is the beginning of all the theories that we're gonna talk about it. This is just the aftermath of the reactor bombing. It's no doubt about it. The beginning of all the things that are different from one game to another one. We said already that Final Fantasy VII Remake is not a remake per se. This is a brand new way to tell the story, and this destruction part that we can see in this sector is just amazing how they recreate it, because we don't have this feeling, while playing in the game, we don't have the feeling of destruction, especially on Final Fantasy VII OG. We don't have that feeling. We don't see the destruction in that particular way like we're going to see here. This is our first hint, that Shinra might have exaggerated the explosion to frame Avalanche as terrorists. Behind that big plot that they have to, like we talked in the other video, they have this plot that if they manage this, they can enforce more extreme measures, and that's no doubt what Shinra is doing right here, and we can see the destruction in this part of the town. People are scared on the streets. It was a big explosion, and they say, some citizens said, "Is that what Mako smells like?" and stuff. And you can see the destruction and all the things that happen shocked everyone. And this is the main core of Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is where it all begins in the theory part, And the fact that Jessie herself later questions whether the bomb was strong enough adds weight to this theory, Shinra, did exaggerate the explosion to frame Avalanche as terrorists. There's no doubt about it here. And what can we take from that? Well, Shinra is plotting to do something way worse during this all Final Fantasy VII Remake compilation, So it's really strange. It's really strange. This is also, the first appearance of Sephiroth. Sephiroth will appear in this section of the game for the first time. Something that didn't happen on Final Fantasy OG. This is scary, but it's also a different thing. And this is where it comes the theories about the new storyline, the new timeline. In the original Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth doesn't appear until much later, but here is crazy. So Cloud starts hallucinating, starts seeing Nibelheim, the burning part that happened, and there it is, boom. Cloud sees a vision of him, fire surrounding the city just like Nibelheim incident. But is this real? Is this actually reality? An hallucination? Or can it be something more and something different, And here he stands right in front of him, Cloud is just, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't even pull the sword out, he doesn't fight, he's just shocked. He's gonna say, "You were dead." How? That's what he says, and it's crazy. Because from this point on, everything changed. So we got a few theories on this part. We have actually 3 theories that we think about it over the years. Theory 1 is that Sephiroth is manipulating time. But how can this be? Sephiroth already knows his original fate. He loses. In the OG, that's what happens. So what if he's trying to break free from the cycle by altering events early on? It can be that. It would make sense. If he can time manipulating, this would explain why he's suddenly appearing so soon, whispering cryptic things to Cloud like, run away, you have to live. You have to live. So this is quite a thing that maybe is not only an hallucination by Cloud. So the second theory that I have is that Genova's cells are awakening in Cloud. Cloud has Genova cells inside him. That's for sure. Everybody knows that. Which could cause what? We saw that. Cause false memories and hallucinations. You know? And maybe, just maybe, these visions aren't actually Sephiroth, but just Cloud, fractured mind reacting to all the stress around him, to all the people suffering for this bombing, you know. It can definitely be this, and would make sense, you know. Sephiroth appearing right here in this main part so early can be that as well. Of course, our Tier 3, and this is the one that we share the most along the Final Fantasy VII lore, is the fact that this is an alternate timeline. Could this be? You know, what if Sephiroth has already lived through these events before? In Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, we see signs that timelines might be colliding, and Chapter 2 is our first glimpse at this. So it only makes sense that Chapter 2 be the turning point of everything, and being the turning point of the story. You know, you see run Cloud, run away. You know, you have to leave. You have to live. And this shocks him, you know, shocks him immediately. But of course there's no one here. There's no one there. So, maybe this is only an hallucination caused by Genova cells. We don't know. But I think it definitely can be that. Now, and we see the explanation further in Rebirth. We have a few hints as well of this.
I'm seeing things.
But for me, you know, like he says, I'm seeing things. Fumes from all the Mako. I got this. He has to be this. But do we really know? Well, in fact, we don't. One of the other parts that are very important in this chapter, and we're gonna see further ahead, is when, you know, we meet Aerith, and we see that fate is changing. You know, because we can see that Cloud is navigating the city. He continues to see everything, and he continues to see the destruction. But then he sees the flower girl, Aerith. And then I think that changes once again all the dynamic from Final Fantasy VII OG to Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know. And it was a big mess, this explosion, caused by Shinra. Don't get me wrong, of course, that Avalanche have their share of blame in here, but no doubt about it, in my opinion, Shinra is the main. And no, like I said before, Shinra is definitely the main villain in the game for me. You know, everybody says that it's Sephiroth, or maybe someone says it's Genova. I don't think so. I still think Shinra is the main villain in this game. And this is where we can see in the Loveless Street the first interaction, you know, between Cloud and Aerith. And it's so much more different from the OG. Now we can see this things get really interesting here, you know. Cloud meets Aerith in the Sector 8 streets, and for the first time, and we can see this movement here, for the first time we see the whispers, kind of the ghostly beings trying to correct fate. No, and we see Sephiroth again. Well, here's the time manipulation that I think that happens, you know, that he can manipulate time. We don't know once again if that's the case or not, but for the first time, you know, we meet Aerith, we see the whispers. But why? Why do they show up the moment that Claude meets Aerith? Especially when she touch him. That's when we see what is actually happening.
Just my luck.
Of course, you know, she is very joyful and very happy, and you know, I think deep down she knows something about this timeline. You know, she's different, and that is when the whispers gonna appear. You're gonna see when she touch him.
Dangerous things.
You know, during this talk, we're gonna see the whispers coming back. You know, because in the beginning when he met her, that's what we have. Well, now, in this instant, that's when the whispers will actually start to appear. See? Here, right here, it's when they appear, and she's acting all crazy. Claude isn't seeing it, but in the moment that she touches him, he can see it. She can see it too, and nobody else can see it. So, the theory, for me, oh no, we have two in this case. Well, the second one is not like a theory, but just a thankful wish. You know, because you see here, Shinra soldiers don't see the whispers. So the theory here, Aerith knows more than she lets on, you know. Many believe Aerith already remembered past timelines. So once again, being this a new timeline. And she immediately senses something different about Claude. And the whispers could be trying to stop Cloud for interfering with fate. That's why, you know, he couldn't go after her or chase her in that. And of course, the yellow flower, a symbol of reunion. Now, in Japanese culture, yellow flowers represent reunion and fate. Is this a hint that Cloud and Aerith are caught in a loop of events they can't escape? It might be. You know, it definitely might be that. And I do think that most of the parts that we're going to see throughout chapter 2, it's about that. It's about reunion. It's about restarting the timeline, reshaping the timeline. I don't know if this actually gonna happen, you know, throughout the final part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. No, not Rebirth. We seal, but we'll get there. We get on Rebirth in a few, well, I guess in a few months. by the time that we are doing this, we have already 2 or 3 chapters done, but it's gonna take a bit more, you know. So, in this section, we can see Cloud fighting his way up to, you know, get rid of the Shinra forces. Because, you know, to escape, this is pretty simple. And we can see the Shinra cover up and the Turks agenda, you know. So, as Cloud fights his way through Sector 8, Shinra's propaganda machine kicks in, you know, immediately. That's what they do best. The news start broadcasting that Avalanche has attacked civilians, which didn't happen. But we already suspected that something is off, right? So the bombing, the power of the blast. So we already knew that they were actually trying to put the blame on everything on Avalanche. Which, hey, they are to blame. They did that, but not on that extent. Now, this could be another piece of evidence that Shinra planted additional bombs to make Avalanche look worse. And of course, Shinra as the means, they are ruling everything in Midgard, not only in Midgard, but also in the world of Gaia. So it's perfectly normal that they will trying to install fear now in the city, claiming that is Avalanche doing. Of course, we all know that Avalanche is not doing all of that, but we also know that they did attack the reactor. They did bomb the reactor. So, they are to blame as well. And we'll see further ahead, even in the story, the OG story, we see that Barrett starts to think, about what they did in Midgard with another point of view, a different way, a different point of view, which makes sense. Barrett is not for me, Barrett is one of the deepest characters that exist in the game. But one thing is for sure, Shinra is behind all of that, and they were very swift to arrive into the scene. They were very, very swift, which once again makes us think, how about the blame and the planting of the bomb. Of course, during the game we will see that happening. We saw that in chapter 1, and once again the agenda is clear. Further ahead on the chapter, we will then see what the secret services of Shinra, the Turks. But what does that mean? Because we're going to see that the Turks, Reno and Rude, are watching from a distance. They will not engage. They will, stay put. Does it make sense once again? I don't think so. If they are really convinced by Shinra's story, wouldn't they actually go pursue Claude? Of course they are, once again they are Shinra, they are focusing in, obey orders. They don't do anything by themselves. But we all know that Reno and Rude, especially on the OG Final Fantasy VII, they have a mind on their own. Even Sang, that we will present later in the game, they have a mind on their own. They are not just simply puppets of Shinra. They do things, of course, it's their job, but they don't do things lightly. And you can see that Rude and Reno are way different, but they have kind of a sense of honor. So are they actually fully convinced on everything that's going on so far? Are they fully convinced that Shinra is not to blame? Well, this segment, especially the escape and the train ride, is one of the things that we definitely will see that has an impact. Once again, it seems very similar to the OG game, but there are hints that tells us the game is very, very different from the PlayStation 1 version. So once again, it's not a simple remake, it's definitely some other timeline. Maybe that's what I believe. I think the timelines are different and that Sephiroth is behind that. I don't know if to actually escape Genova, or just to, you know, not lose, because he did lost his mind. We all know that, you know. Sephiroth did lost his mind back in the Valheim incident, and maybe, you know, just maybe he's being steered by Genova cells as well, but we don't know. In the fact that the escape, you know, Cloud escaping Sector 8 and jumping onto the train, it's gonna be finally reunited once again with Avalanche. But there's some tension in the air, you know. There's the crazy feeling, which is normal, you know, the stress of all that happened. Maybe, you know, just maybe, that's it. But then again, once again, Jesse is not convinced of, you know, Claude's attitude and that stuff. I don't know why, because in this timeline she's just met him, but there's some inquiring things going on. And she can sense that, you know, she can sense that. And then we have this, you know, Cloud actually having an hallucination or something that reminds him of something, jumping onto the train in that instance. Of course, the reunion now with Avalanche, we see that Jessie is a bomb expert, so she's confused by how big the explosion was, you know. And of course the theory is all the same. President Shinra wanted public support to crash Avalanche, and this is just a small cell, okay, of Avalanche. It's a very small cell. We saw that, you know. We know that Avalanche is bigger than that on the lore. But right now, Claude, and if you only on chapter 2, you don't know that, you'll see it after. But that's, again, the theory. They made the explosion look way worse, so they can have an excuse to increase military control. And I don't have, you know, throughout the game we're gonna see that, and I have no doubt about it. So, what does this mean? No. In order, not only for Rebirth, but on the story-wise. Of course, we know, well, at least we think that is, no, that the Whispers are trying to preserve the original Final Fantasy VII timeline. Right? And we're going to see in this chapter, there's not a lot more, you know, that to actually show you in terms of theories and stuff. But what does this mean to Rebirth? Why they appeared, why Sephiroth appeared so soon? Aerith fate can be changed.
Of course they are.
We all know that in the Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation 1, you know, the OG one, Aerith dies, you know, especially if you're not new to the lore. Will Cloud regain real memories?
Even after what we saw at the station and all over Sector 8.
Can Sephiroth alter fate this time? And what happens you know, if they are successful in altering the timeline. Of course, that in this particular chapter, we don't know all this, but it's been 5 years. So of course we already played this, most of you guys, and we already finished, you know, Rebirth, so we know a bit. But for you that are new to Final Fantasy VII Remake, maybe, just maybe, it will be a surprise. Or if you just started with Final Fantasy Remake to the lore of Final Fantasy VII, you got a long way to go, it's true. But bear in mind that in order to understand this video, playing the Final Fantasy VII OG from PlayStation 1, which is also available for PlayStation 5, it is definitely a major break to it, okay? So, Final Fantasy VII Remake Chapter 2 isn't just a retelling. It is a warning that things are changing. So the main game in itself, things are changing. And it's all good. All good, because it's a very awesome way, you know, to do this remake. From Sephiroth's time manipulation to the Whisper's interference, we are in uncharted territory. Not right now, you won't see this right now in Chapter 2, of course. But I want to leave, you know, leave you with some questions. What do you think will happen? Will the fate be rewritten in Rebirth? You know, let me know all that in the comments. And of course, do enjoy the process of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, because this game, in its lore and in its story in itself, in the different chapters that we will see up ahead, is very, very deep. Way deeper than the sequence on Final Fantasy VII OG in Midgar. Now, we have a lot more city to explore, and we can see how the city did react to everything that is happening with Avalanche and everything that will happen in the future. This starts here in Final Fantasy Remake. You know, let me know if you have different theories or new theories, because always can help, and you know, or if you actually saw something that sparked your curiosity to deep dive again, like me, in Final Fantasy VII Remake, because this part of the game, it's just mind-blowing. They did a wonderful job using only Midgar to initialize everything in the story. So yeah, guys, I want to thank you so much, so much for the support on the first video. This is a brand new thing for us, a different way of doing content. And your support, your love, your comments, and everything that you do around the channel means a lot for us. I hope you don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the Final Fantasy VII universe, especially focusing now on Final Fantasy VII Remake, but maybe in the future also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and also the third installment that is coming, well, hopefully soon, because we are dying to see the end of this, of course. But we will take our time. we definitely will take our time, and especially with Rebirth, because there are so many hidden gems there. So it's going to be an amazing, amazing ride on Final Fantasy VII, this brand new branch of the Final Fantasy VII lore. So yeah, like I said, thank you so much once again for all the support, all the love, and I hope that you did enjoy this video as much as I did making. I appreciate you. Don't forget to check our socials as well. And if you have any theory or anything that you want to share with us, make sure you put it on the comments down below. Thank you so much once again. Welcome to Simo RPG. My name is Simo vs. Dan, and it's always a pleasure
There's only one way it can go.
to do content for all of you guys. Well, we are back in the amazing Sector 7 slums, and we'll see you right there. Thank you so much.